CPA from around the way.
Ooh, this ain't my angle. Hold on now.
Hold on, find your right angle.
Okay. Are we giving, what is this angle giving?
No, but we're here to talk about you. First, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I know I wanted to take a look a little deeper because there aren't a lot of Black accountants that I know. I mean, especially our age, and especially some of the things you went through, like trying to pass the test and all that. So we'll get to those. It's a PTSD.
Yeah, it does.
So your name, business, and your social media handles.
So my name is Courtney Arrington, and my social media handle on Instagram is Courtney Arrington _. And then everything else is TAS Blog One, The Accounting Struggle. On YouTube, I'm The Accounting Struggle. You can find that in my bio. So right now I work full-time as a CPA for Genworth, which is an insurance company. I work in their investments accounting group, but I also do bookkeeping and tax services on the side. That's something that I'll be opening up to take clients in the summer. This summer I'll start. But that's something that I started like November. So I've been doing that, and that's called Arrington Solutions. So that's my business. But really my main thing that I'm doing right now is The Accounting Struggle, which is my blog. I write an accounting blog just to help out like new accountants who are just getting their foot in the door, who are struggling. Maybe they aren't finding the transition from college to like professional life as smooth as they might have anticipated. So my blog is really geared towards helping those individuals.
But how was that transition for you? Because you left the company previously, correct? Yeah.
So the transition, like getting a job, that part was fine because I did an internship.
Okay.
I did too. I did an externship my junior year of college with another CPA firm. And then I did an internship for like their tax season internship in 2016, my senior year of college. And then they hired me full time when I went to do my interview for the internship. So I worked there full time for almost 3 years. I just left there in June of last year. So it was that securing a job, that part wasn't that bad because I was an accounting student and I was very active. I was in like 2 accounting organizations. I was like super accounting nerd. So getting a job was fine, but the transition from like school to professional life was really hard. Even though I had many jobs before, I had worked in a professional setting before, just applying the stuff the knowledge that I obtained in school to real life was not easy because in school it's like Jim and John have 1 child. What should their filing status be? It's like super easy and so straightforward, but in real life you see all different types of scenarios that you just cannot imagine. So it was a struggle. It was so hard, and I didn't know who to really talk to about it. I didn't really initially have a mentor. I was just kind of like, oh my God, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Like, this is so rough.
Yeah. And that's usually, if you're not
questioning, I started The Accounting Struggle. Yeah, it was hard.
If you're not questioning it, it's like, is this really the profession for me? But in real life, if you're questioning it, you're growing in that aspect. So whether it's a lose or a lesson or a win, it's good, and you get the knowledge from it. You can't really pay for that type of knowledge to have and to be able to navigate. So you said it was hard. What were some of your struggles that you came across?
Well, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, I've talked about this on my blog. I think one of the things was I was much older than everybody else. I was older than some of the managers even because I was a non-traditional student. Like, I graduated high school in 2006, but I graduated college with my bachelor's in 2016. Yeah. So by the time I started, I was a 27-year-old intern. I was like almost 30 when I was in my full-time position, whereas everyone else was a lot younger. And they also went to these I went to VCU and they went to like bigger schools, and I just felt like, some of them had their masters. Everybody had already passed their CPA exam. And I just kind of like how different I was super noticeable. It wasn't just being like a Black woman. It was the whole package of like, I didn't go to that school. I don't look like them. I don't have the same life experiences. I don't feel like I'm on the same level as them. So that made it harder to even like focus, because part of learning and getting good at your job is being confident. and trusting yourself and not second guessing everything that you do. And I was doing that so much that it just made it really hard for me to progress and to even get better at my job. So that was like what I was really struggling with. And I was doing tax accounting, and tax accounting is very niche. It's not like I wasn't working at H&R Block. Like I was, no shade to H&R Block.
No.
Shout out to them. But I was working. We had a lot of very big, sophisticated clients. Like it was just not stuff that was common sense, stuff that I just would not have ever known or thought of. So I was just really struggling with it. But I mean, I had a lot of good resources in the firm that would help me, but it was always like, oh, I have to go ask another question because I'm just so dumb. That was kind of what I was facing.
And I mean, now, what brought you to this field? And how did you want to know, like, okay, I want to be an accountant?
Definitely stumbled into it by mistake. Did not grow up saying I want to be an accountant. Definitely not. But when I started, so I started school in 2009 online. I was doing like an online program. And at the time I was majoring in fashion merchandising, but that program was under a business degree. So I would have ultimately had a business degree, and I liked the way that sounds. Like, oh, a degree in business. That sounds really sufficient, and I'll just have that to cover any type of job I go into. And when that program fell apart because the school just like lost accreditation, I had to start over at VCU. I still wanted to focus on business. And at VCU, fashion merchandising is under art. And by that time, I was just kind of like, I don't even want to do that. Like, I don't really need a degree in fashion to do fashion. And thank God I didn't pursue that because I'm so not even a fashion girl now. But it was just at the time, that was where my mind was.
Yeah.
And so when I started at VCU, you have to take accounting as a like preliminary course anyway if you're going to get your degree in business. So before I was declared, I took my first accounting course, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is kind of interesting. It's a little bit of spice here. I just thought it was really riveting. I thought that it was like real challenging, and anytime I got it, I was like, okay, yes, I'm understanding this. I think I want to do this. And yeah, it just felt like the foundation. Like I knew that every company had accounting, so I'm just like, okay, well, if I get a degree in this, no matter where I go in life, this will be applicable to that. So I'm gonna stick to this. So that's how I ended up here.
I love it. Well, what brought you to your blog? I know you said to help struggling students, people transitioning, things like that. But what was like your aha moment? Like, okay, I'm going to start a blog, or did you already know like that's the route you wanted to take?
So I already knew I wanted to start a blog, but I didn't really know what it was going to be about. I knew that it needed to be specific and it needed to come from a place that was genuine. I couldn't just like spit out topics about something that I wasn't like experiencing or living. And then in June of 2016, my first year, I went to a NABA conference. NABA is the National Association for Black Accountants. And I went to that conference, and there was one of the sessions that I was in. The lady was just talking about building your own brand and having your own website where no matter what you do, you just have to have something where you're speaking to your experience and what you do and what you represent, just your brand. And so I went back to my hotel room that day after the session, and I started my blog. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to talk about accounting. Like, there's thousands of accountants here, just this one conference. And I know that I can't be the only person who's experiencing this type of difficulty. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about that and see who else I can reach. And it just kind of went from there.
And do you get a good response from that? Do you get questions and things like that?
Overwhelming, yes. I get a lot of questions, good questions, a ton of feedback. I'm much more active with it now that I have a more steady schedule. But even before when I started it, I get people reaching out to me all the time. I've made friends from it who I wouldn't have known before. People on my YouTube comments, people literally all over the world reading this blog. It's not super popping. I'm not going to try to make it sound like my streaming numbers are like that, but literally all different countries are reading it, and it's just shocking to me. When I see somebody in Beijing